With just few days to the Ondo Guba polls, members of PDP are coming out to expose the inefficiency of the current governor, Aiyedatiwa. Ebiseni is saying that Aiyedatiwa, the current governor, lacks the capacity to prepare the people of Ondo State to the promised land. Hence, he is asking the people of Ondo State to send Aiyedatiwa packing with the power of their votes.
So, Ebiseni, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Well, thank you. Good morning, and thank you for having me.
All right, Mr. Ebiseni, let's get the big elephant out of the room. Let's get the big elephant out of the room so that we can get to what you have on offer to Ondo people. Because there was a time we had Ayo Olurofemi on the final list, and then there was a court's judgment that came in your favor, and you are now the official candidate of the Labour Party, recognized by INEC, who is going to be on the ballot on November the 16th. Just walk us through how that played out briefly, and then we'll get to the other conversations.
Well, you have said it all. The Labour Party is a very popular political party. Therefore, we are not surprised of competition for its ticket. But like a civilized organization that the Labour Party is, of course, we competed among ourselves, and invariably we approached to the court for the determination of the true candidate of the party. And since 27th of September 2024, by the judgment of Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court, Abuja, have been pronounced the authentic candidate of the Labour Party, and INEC has complied by getting my name and that of my deputy, Ajayi, uploaded on his portal. That is the end of the matter. But as you can see, that I'm prepared for campaign, but for this interview, you will see us on the street. We'll be campaigning vigorously because we know that it is the only party that has anything to offer the people of Ondo State in the coming election. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Ebiseni, one more thing. Your party hasn't been doing quite well. And I'm asking this question because I want you to respond to the fact that how do you think, don't you think it's going to impact your performance in this election? So let's go back. The Abure... just a minute, Mr. Ebiseni. The Abure factor that has split the party, where we now have a situation where the governor of Abia State and the presidential candidate had to set up a caretaker committee that's still in contention. We saw what played out in Edo State. Olumide Akpata made very strong impression during the campaign, but the results showed otherwise. And now we're seeing what is happening in Abia State, the only state that has Labour Party, and the Labour Party did not win any of the seats. ZLP took all of that. Whether it was an SPV, is a different kettle of fish. We're going to have that conversation later. So how do you think this will impact the outcome of the election for you in Ondo State?
Well, thank you very much. Every political party has its own problems, and the Labour Party is not an exception. I do not want to draw comparison with other political parties where in the last 1 month or so, you see one faction of the national executive suspending or expelling the other faction. With respect to Labour Party, yes, we have such issues at the national level of the party. But this is a federation. Nigeria is a federation. Ondo State has its own peculiar political culture. And this is one party that resonates very well with the people of Ondo State. Between 2009 and 2017, the Labour Party was in power in this state. And the programs and policies and even projects that you can see around the states were the projects that were embarked upon and delivered by the Labour Party between 2009 and 2017. The area of education, in the area of health, in the area of integrated rural development. The people of Ondo State can always tell you, oh, When you mention mega schools, oh, they say it's Labour Party. You mention or health center, they say it's Labour Party. You mention mother and child hospital, they say it's Labour Party. You mention realization of roads and what have you. People will say, oh, it is Labour Party. And it is very easy to identify with because they are all the physical infrastructural projects were all in the orange color of Labour Party. So it is not the crisis of any of the parties at the national level that we determine who becomes the governor of those states this time around. It is the pedigree of the candidates and the performances of the political party when they were in power. Mark you, APC took over from Labour Party in 2017. 8 years down the line, ask the people of Ondo State what APC are able to deliver. As a matter of fact, the two candidates of either PDP or APC are APC candidates. PDP has no candidate in this election. The candidate of the so-called candidate of the PDP was the first-time deputy governor of APC, and the incumbent governor is the second-time deputy governor of APC. In that situation, they are going to be judged by the performance of APC. And I am surprised, so very surprised, that listening to both of them in the interview that Challenge decided to restrict, for whatever reason, to the two of them. Listening to them yesterday, I was surprised that they are members of the same family and they have nothing to offer the people than to be abusing the people of Ondo State.
All right, Mr. Ebiseni, just yeah. So that we'll get now. I know you've been a local government chairman. You've been,
yes,
excuse me, 3-time commissioner. You served in Mimiko, and then you also served in his cabinet. You were in the 2014 confab. You're an Afenifere chieftain. But this is 2024. Why are you the man for the job?
That's exactly. We are talking of pedigree and antecedents. You know, we did not just spring up today. You have just rolled it out. Former chairman, local government, 3 times commissioner, federal government delegate to the 2014 National Conference, and today Secretary General of Afenifere. When you look at Ondo State politics, down the line, those who had been, those who have had the privilege of administering Ondo State are people you can rate with any leader anywhere in the world. Ondo State produced Ajayi, a very leader and Adeko leader, principal of schools. The same thing with Adebayo Adefarati. The same thing with Olumiluwa, a diplomat. The same thing with Dr. Olusegun Agagu, PhD, accomplished geologist. Olusegun Mimiko, a medical practitioner. Akeredolu, the former president of MBA, senior advocate of Nigeria. That is the kind of stuff Ondo State people have given the people of Nigeria in our leadership recruitment process. But now you have a situation where some parties don't claim he's a lawyer, he's not proud to let the people know he's a lawyer. He's parading school certificates with controversial credentials. The other one says he attended a secondary school which was created in 1981, and he passed out in that same secondary school in 1982. He was initially parading a master's degree in business administration. He has withdrawn that from the public space and say he only has an NCE. So when you roll out our CV, so where we have come from, is to let you know that we feel the deal in the determination, the kind of criteria for the timetable, the template that the Ondo State set for the leaders. I'm Secretary General of Afenifere, and you look at it from the period of our own, the Afenifere programs determined both the leadership and the development of our state in terms of free education at all levels, free medical services, integrated rural development, and gainful employment. I can tell you for free that at our inauguration as the governor and deputy governor of Ondo State, both of us were we were members of the government between 2009 and 2017. Once elected as the governor of Ondo State, the first thing is to declare education free, qualitative, and compulsory, such that Ondo State will no longer be one of the states of the Federation.
Mr.
Everybody will say, oh yes, you have out-of-school children. It will happen in Ondo State. Education is going to be compulsory here. And I'll be saying that along as we continue to the people for the next election.
For me, before we begin to talk about issues of development and we can, bring it all together, some would describe you as a serial decampee. Of course, now you are ascribing some legacy projects of past administrations to the Labour Party. But in December 2023, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you returned to the PDP from the Labour Party ahead of this governorship election because of your ambition. But you lost the primaries and you have now returned yet again to the Labour Party. Some would ask about the genuineness of your intentions in returning to the Labour Party. Is it just to use it, as we say now, special purpose vehicle to achieve your aim, not necessarily because, of genuine identification with the ideologies of the Labour Party? Now, beyond that, you can also respond to this. There's a huge concern about youth unemployment in Ondo State, and the approach currently is the disbursement of funds to the unemployed. Beyond that, what plans do you have to really empower the youth such that they can become self-reliant in Ondo State?
Well, thank you very much. About the choice of political party. I'm not new to the Labour Party. The first government Labour Party first ever established in Nigeria, the government in which I served 8 years as commissioner. When you make allusion to 2023, was the Southwest coordinator, presidential candidates election of Labour Party, and a member, as a lawyer, a member of his legal team to the Supreme Court. I paid my dues in Labour Party, and so contesting on the platform of Labour Party is not something that I just grab along the way. I am just back home doing what any member of the Labour Party is qualified to do. Besides, when you talk about PDP, yes, I remember in 2015 when we were in Labour Party, there was a need for some coalition with President Jonathan then for the presidential election. That may be the reason why we took that decision then. But that does not really mean that we are not in tune with the philosophy of our party. I'm the governorship candidate of Labour Party, and it is well deserving because of my contribution to the party. With respect to youth unemployment, it has to do with our own programs. I told you earlier on that first and foremost, we are going to ensure free, qualitative, and compulsory education at secondary school level up to when you leave secondary school, and highly subsidized university education with all the qualities of what a modern day person should be able to bring to the table for the purpose of being gainfully employed. That's where you start from. You may have a lot of youths who are not even employable. So that's the first way to tackle it. Secondly, is to broaden the economic base of Ondo State. It takes somebody like us who understands Ondo State, its people, its territory, its mineral resources. You can, for instance, look at from the Southern Senatorial District, we are oil producing people. You have bitumen, you have a very deep forest resources. The same thing at the Central Senatorial District. Then you have the rocks surrounding us in the Central and Northern Senatorial District. I was privileged to be Commissioner for Environment and Mineral Resources. I do know that the rocks that you use for granites and all of it were all sourced from Ondo State. What we intend to do is to invite, notwithstanding that mineral matters is on the exclusive legislative list, the Constitution does not preclude any governor from inviting investors to come and invest in those resources. You understand? So that is what we intend to do. We have to broaden the economic base of the state. There is no job in the civil service, to accommodate our teeming youth. So we have to look for a creative means to get our people employed, and it has to do with the resources that are abundantly available in our states.
Now, some important issues of debate came up yesterday during the governorship debate, which I'd like you to respond to. Security and agriculture. Let's talk about security. And late Governor Aiyedatiwa is credited with the establishment of the Amotekun Corps, which was described as a prototype of state police. What would be your approach to entrenching state police if you were elected governor, particularly with a view to sustaining the institution? Because there's been a lot of debate about how state governors would be able to fund a state police infrastructure if it eventually becomes entrenched in the Constitution.
Thank you very much. You do know, as Secretary General of Aiyedatiwa, one of the issues which we have put on the front burner in Nigeria is the restructuring of the Nigerian Federation. And one of the key issues we campaign for all the time is having state police. The activities of Aiyedatiwa is highly commendable, and his colleagues in the Southwest in bringing up the Amotekun security network. As a matter of fact, the root of Amotekun is on the programs of Aiyedatiwa and the development agenda for Western Nigeria called the Dawn. So the implementation of that program by the Southwest governors is highly commendable. But I can tell you that you do not even need to ask me as an Aiyedatiwa person whether I will do. As a matter of fact, we will advance more what Aiyedatiwa and his colleagues have done. You can take that from me in terms of security. And that, again, is connected with the issue of agriculture. Because our farmers, the farms need to be secured. The farms need to be safe before you now can talk about the development in the agricultural sector. So the first thing to do actually is to ensure that we have a safe environment where our farmers can actually return to farm. And then what we were doing in our government before this administration was for government to provide such implements that will lessen the burden of farmers. You have tractors, you have bulldozers, you clear the farm for them. It is no longer a matter of hoes and cutlasses. But when you get to government today, all of those materials, sourced by our government when we were in office between 2009 and 2017, all have been sold by the present administration. The same thing that they did in the area of education, where the free bus shuttles that were procured under the Labour Party government have all disappeared. Go to the area of even the mother and child hospital, where the people of Ondo State have been thanking God for. Under this government, in our government, it was free. A woman gets to the hospital and come back there, deliver free of charge.
All right,
Mr. It's 250,000 naira. So,
all right, Mr. Ebiseni, if I'm important, sir.
Yeah.
We're almost out of time, so let's see how much you can get out in terms of what you have to do. When we talk to candidates, whether incumbent or the ones that are planning to take over, there's big plans. Nigeria is not bereft of plans, ambitious plans, whether for health, security, and all of this. But the big question we always ask is how do you intend to fund it? Because it's all about using money to fund some of these projects. Ondo State, I think, is in debt to about maybe 130-something billion naira as at the last count. So let me ask you, how much is Ondo State earning in terms of IGR, say monthly or maybe in a year, and how much are you getting from FAC? If you give me that number, how do you intend to ramp up IGR and see how you can depend less? I know you're about 55%, which is fair compared to other states like Bayelsa that are 92% dependent on FAC allocation. If you do that comparison broadly, how much is Ondo State earning? How do you intend to increase the earning and revenue of Ondo State so that you can fund some of these ambitious projects? Because they say talk is easy.
You see, thank you very much. We're not saying something new. I told you that between 2009 and 2017, we were in government in the state. Some of these, all of these programs and projects I'm talking about were all faithfully implemented for the 8 years. So what we are going to do now is going to advance on what we did before, and how we were able to generate funds to do it is still the same that we are talking about. We are not in the business of, for instance, you were talking of the
Mr. Ebiseni, my apologies. Assume that they are new voters. You're talking about what we did. That was a long time ago. Exactly. There are new voters who may not even know, the history.
It's because of time that I'm saying that some of these things that the people know, you're talking of new voters, they are within Ondo State. They can see what we have done before. And what are we going to do now, differently from what we're doing, is to advance on what we have done before. For instance, you talk about mother and child hospital, and people say it's no longer feasible. What we do now, rather than build mother and child hospital in designated places, we now expand the maternity sector of every general hospital in the state for the purpose of the implementation of the mother and child component of our health program. By the way, in talking about the debate yesterday, it was so unfortunate that Channel decided to limit it to the candidates of both PDP and APC who are members of the same political family, because they were members of the same Aketi government. And I had one of them, because of time, I had one of them say, we find it difficult to sleep in Ajayi, look anywhere in Ajayi local government. What insolence? These are people that were drawn from the creek. I was instrumental to pulling them from the creeks and then becoming what they are today. Unfortunately, like Chino Achebe said, they had the benevolence of their palm kernel being cracked for them. Yet they do not have.
All right, Mr. Ebiseni, just we're wrapping up, but I'm just going to ask you this one question, which I don't think you answered. 40 billion naira was earned by Ondo State for IGR last year, which brings it to about 3.3 billion. Ondo State needs a lot more in terms of funding. How would you increase it from 3.3 to 3.5? Let's talk practical. What are you doing? Just 30 seconds if you can.
Yes, I told you, I said, there is the need for you, and like we have in our plans, to put in place, programs that will increase the economic base of the state. In practical terms, the southern part of this state is very close to Lagos, and we have not up to now taken advantage of that benefit, and we've been trying to provide. Take our counterparts in Ogun State. Most of the IGR from Ogun State is coming from Aiyedatiwa local government that is close to Lagos, where you have Agbara, where you have Aton and all of that. But we are saying in our own case, that area has been neglected. It does not take so long for us to take advantage of that. Happily enough, President Tinubu is developing the Lagos-Calabar highway. And if you remember, about 2 weeks ago, I shouted on the need for Ondo State to take advantage of that project. Unfortunately, I just told last week now that the Minister of Works came without any plan for the beneficial alignment of that road. We are going to see to that as the government of Ondo State.
Okay, we have just a bit more time to cover additional ground, and I'm glad about that. You were once chairman of Ondo local government, I believe.
Of
Ajayi Ondo, and
yes,
you know, there's very big concern about the state of underdevelopment in some of those communities, and the talk is that though some of them are oil-producing communities, they do not look like the kind of development that they should have attracted over the years. And Ondo being at one of the states receiving derivation funds, what would you do to change that narrative if you were elected governor?
Thank you very much. I just said it. By the way, as chairman of Ajayi Ondo local government, just barely 3 years after I left youth service, I was perhaps the youngest local government chairman in Nigeria then, 1990. Our agitation led to Ondo State being recognized as an oil-producing state with all the benefits that come with it now from Supernet, NDDC, and what have you. Unfortunately, like it happens in many parts of the Niger Delta, the Ondo State government has not taken advantage of that reality. I just told you, I said, if we manage, yes, Akechi was talking about, constructing a road from Ararami to Lagos. And Ararami to Lagos now on sandy shore takes just less than 30 minutes without a road on motorbike on the Lekki Peninsula to get to Lagos. And that's going to be our priority, to develop that road. Once you have that road, extend from Lagos into Ondo State, particularly now that the president is talking about Lagos Expressway, the development will follow. So there's the need for us to first put in place certain infrastructural facilities that will on its own be the catalyst for more development. That is going to be a priority. Apart from the fact that I do not know of any state that produce more of aquatic resources like fish, shrimps, and all of that than Ondo State. Today, those material, those seafoods that brought from the sea and then transported almost immediately because we do not have the facilities to preserve them. We've spoken about this for a long time, and that was why the Gov'ship fishing terminal was established. Nobody made use of it. As a matter of fact, today it's another yard. We are going to ensure the road we have between Ibokoda and Aiyedatiwa was developed by our government, by the Ajayi government when I was commissioner, and the development of followed suit. So we are going to put in place such infrastructural facilities that will attract further development. But almost the issue of roads in that area is key. As I was talking about the deputy governorship of DP, who said during the debate yesterday that he was happy to tell the whole world.
All right, Mr. Ebiseni, if I may butt in quickly as a winder.
To represent them in the House of Reps.
Just a minute, Mr. Ebiseni, I think this may be our last question on this conversation. So we know that I saw an export receipt of, import and export receipt of 1962 or so, where cocoa, groundnuts, and other products were like 4 products were way ahead of petroleum product. And one of the hubs of cocoa in the southwest was Ondo State. And we see what Query has done to some of these places as well. Are you planning to revamp agriculture, and how do you intend to do that? Because everybody's talking about diversification, going beyond oil. In just about 60 seconds, if you can do that.
Thank you very much. When I was giving you the regional opportunities in Ondo State, I did tell you about oil and the rest and the seafood you have in the south. And I said, in the central senatorial district, you talk of Ajayi, talk of Idori, talk of Igbonoke, talk of the opponents north and south. These are the real up of cocoa and cola nut production in Nigeria that then made Nigeria in the first republic as the highest producer of cocoa in the world, and it was the hub of the economy of Obafemi Awolow's government. Of course, we are concerned about this, and when we were in power during the Labour Party government, we did a lot to enhance cocoa production here. So much that we are even talking about having a chocolate industry being established in Ondo State to take advantage of our cocoa production. But look at the cocoa company in Luigi and the rest of them. Till now, the present government in the last 8 years challenged them.
My apologies.
Point to the people what they have done.
My apologies, Mr. Olushola Ebiseni. Thank you so much. We're totally out of time. The Labour Party governorship candidate in the November the 16th governorship election. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Well, thank you very much for having us at last, even when you denied us the opportunity.
There was a polling done to get to those decisions as to how we conducted all of that. But that's in the past now. But we must thank you. But we must thank you for. That's why you have this opportunity.
Exciting thing.
Yes,
the candidates confront.
Yes. They've had the opportunity. You have not had the opportunity, but we must thank you. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program. We appreciate it.
This is a conversation between you and I.
Nonetheless, the people have heard you.
Thank you anyway. Thank you anyway for giving us the opportunity.
We'll always do the best we can to be fair to all at all times.
The Ondo State election will be another ground for the battle of supremacy between the PDP and the APC. Just after the concluded Edo State election, where the PDP is still lamenting that lambasted the APC for exponential rigging of the Edo State election, the PDP is however coming out to say they will withstand any form or attempts to compromise or rig the Ondo State coming Guba polls.